Welcome to the Normal People Fitness Podcast. My name is Steve Marsden, and we're going to talk about getting fit, getting healthy, feeling good, while eating the things you want to eat and doing the things you want to do. Hello, beautiful people. It is me again. It is Stephen. I hope you are doing well. And as always, well, not always, sometimes I have my co-host Natasha, my awesome coach. How you doing, Natasha?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good. Well, this is the third time I've had to say that I'm good. We've been having some technical issues this morning.
Yeah.
But apart from that, I'm good. How are you?
I'm all right.
Good.
I'm a bit tired. That means I'm an adult.
Usual.
And just like we recorded twice previously, listen, when you're an adult, you're a bit tired, and that's fine. But one of the things that's keeping me tired, as you know, but the audience will not, is I have a new dog, Louis.
Yep.
Yes, he's a beautiful little creature. So I'm getting my steps in, going out for walks, but what he does bring is 5 a.m. barking when the bin man comes. So hey ho, swings and roundabouts. You get lovely cuddles from a lovely dog, but also he wakes you up at night. But wouldn't change it for the world.
Though. He's a wee prince.
I told Lacey, who's been on the podcast, she has 3 kids, so it's like having a kid. She was like, shut up. You don't know what it's like.
I can imagine Lacey'd be like, yeah, nah.
Yeah, you've obviously never had children. Yes. But good, what we are going to talk about today. So we're going to do a podcast today on diet strategies. Okay. Now, what we're not going to talk about, and we haven't planned this episode because I wanted to just wax lyrical, go with the flow, spit some mad free flows. But I don't want it to be about here's what science says. Because as PTs, we can get really caught up in, well, science says this. But what science does when they study people is you have maybe 50% of people are somewhere in the middle, but then you have your outliers on either side. And at some point, we train outliers. But also what science doesn't account for is basically the fact that people are people. And the psychology of it might not necessarily mean they can stick to optimal things. Mm-hmm. We're very good at that in the gym. We understand what normal people are like. But
it's the Normal People Fitness Podcast, Steve.
Exactly.
It's not the optimal athlete bodybuilder podcast.
Yeah, I would not be on that unless you want to say how not to do it. Yeah, I've got a body like a melted candle. Anyway, that's not true. Yeah, by the way, I'm a shredded Adonis. Yes, but
it's also a little bit far-fetched. Somewhere in the middle.
Somewhere in the middle. Yeah. There you go. Just like the people we talk about on the podcast.
Yes,
good. I am living my values. There you go. Authenticity. Yeah. So, so what we've had, so as restaurants are reopening after the pandemic, as people can go to each other's houses and have bites to eat and things like this, we're running into this thing now where people have to plan what they're eating a little bit more, but also there's the ability to sort of say, fuck it, go off the rails.
Yep.
And now what we don't sort of do is strict to rigid ideology, and we try and give people tactics and strategies to manage that themselves. So we do help people learn about food. So if you listen to the diet podcast or any of the podcasts we've done with any of the experts we've had on, but what we also try and do is go, here is a strategy for any upcoming events in your life. And if you do 10% better than you would have done anyway, that is a success, really. So let's name someone. Why don't we talk about someone who we know listens to the podcast? We've got Jackie. Big shout out to Jackie.
She's going to be listening to this on the walk like, oh my God, what the hell?
Oh my God, I'm so mortified. Sorry, Jackie. However, you're a perfect example of this because you go out to eat at like a family member's house, and do you know what I mean? They're cooking for you, and you don't really want to say, hey, could you weigh all the ingredients out? I love spending time with you, but here, what calories in that? What calories in that? So how do we manage that? How do we manage an unexpected trip out? So let's say Jackie's going out to someone's birthday or whatever at a restaurant. She is on X amount of calories as an average per day with a protein target. What would you say to Jackie, Natasha?
So how I always go about starting conversations like this is just bringing up the good old analogies, like calories in MyFitnessPal is the same as having money in the bank. You've got a weekly budget to spend. You can split up the days, however it's going out, however it's going in, just like money, your calories, as long as it's adding up to the same at the end of the week, You can have days where you go way over double. I've been well over double my own calories sometimes, but you can make that up over the course of the week, just like spending money and saving money almost.
So if you have 2,000 calories a day, that's a bit like having £2,000 budget day.
Yep,
if
exactly.
you don't, let's say you spend 1,500 quid, you can save that 500 quid for later on because you know you are going to shop more / spend more.
Exactly.
So that's what we mean by that money analogy. Sorry if you're terrible at budgeting and this is bringing you a lot of heartache, but this is a really good analogy. So carry on.
So you have your people that are creatures of habit that want to eat the same thing every day, and that's absolutely fine. You can spend the same amount of money every day, we'll say. Or you can go on a wee shopping spree with your calories at the weekend, and it just means that you have to spend less throughout the week. So we'll do like our strict and our loose calories. So you'll have more allowance for times where you know that you're going to eat more. And that's not even just for like separate days. Sometimes if people know that they eat more at night time, they'll build up a wee allowance during the day. It's just about learning when you eat the most. So not even just across like daily times like that, like morning, noon and night when you're the most hungry and whatnot. If you've got plans at the weekend, you don't have to stress out about it. It just means you don't, you plan it a little bit better. And if it's last minute, if you're going on like a spontaneous night out, then you can make up for it the next again week. It'll still equate to the same weekly thing, and it's not going to stall your progress at all, as much as it's pretty scary seeing that big red bar on MyFitnessPal. That's what stresses out a lot of people.
Absolutely. I think that there's a few things going on. Firstly, there is a lack of control element, and you just have to accept that because sometimes we cannot control life. So if you want to sort of, do you know what I mean, push family members or ring restaurants up and say, how many calories in your bruschetta? Cool, do that, but we don't really need to. What we can do is pre-mitigate whatever's happening. Yeah, you're a human being. You're going to make terrible decisions at some point. It is okay, but can we mitigate that? And how do we prepare for that in the future? So just like Natasha said, if you're on 2,000 calories a day. Now I use the number 2,000 because it's easy to do maths with. Yeah, you're on 2,000 calories a day. You know you've got maybe 2 events coming up on the weekend. Maybe as long as you're hitting protein goal, eating lots of fruit and veg, you go for 1,200 calories Monday to Thursday. Now that is a big deficit, but we are going to eat more later in the week, so it's not permanent. It's 4 days of quite strict stuff. You will be hungry. You might be a bit of an arsehole to anyone you encounter. That's absolutely fine. But it mitigates so that you have 800 calories left over every day, times 4, 3,200. Do you know what I mean? You could have 5,200 calories and still be within your calories for the week. Now, in the short term, you're going to put on a little bit of weight because if you're eating 5,000 calories, of which most are, let's say, I don't know, Prosecco, beer, carbs.
Like massive Domino's pizzas.
What?
Not to call Steve out on the podcast, but
you've just received a pay decrease. I'll talk about my pizza soon. Do not worry. But
okay.
Let's say you have your 5,000 calories.
Yep.
Some of that is going to hold some water weight, especially if it's carbohydrate. Yeah. So you're going to get a little bit of short-term weight gain and it's going to mask some results. You're probably going to feel a bit bloated and a bit shit. But in terms of your longer-term progress, you have mitigated the damage you would have done. So Natasha just brought up the perfect example, and we joke about this. Essentially, Domino's, I used to eat this pizza. So I'm ridiculously boring with food. I don't find much joy in most foods, okay? I'm a bit of a freak like that. But when I find a food I love, I bloody love it. And, like, it is my treat. Domino's have this thing called a double decadence pizza. They've just
not
brought
sponsored,
it
by
back.
the way.
No, absolutely. Domino's does not sponsor this podcast. I do not take any legal responsibility for what I'm about to say. They banned that pizza. They got rid of it because there's probably too much MSG in it or too many calories, and it was quite a terrible choice for any person. The large double decadence, I think, has like 4,500 calories in, which is like
nice.
Yeah, it's good. It's double most people's daily allowance. But from a psychological point of view, I used to treat myself to it every month. They recently brought it back. So I got a text from a member. I've been training for 3 years. She said, "Is this pizza you used to obsess about?" And yeah, I jumped for joy. My heart skipped a beat, and instantly I took my calories down. So I eat around 3,000 calories a day. I'm a big guy. I move a lot, and I took them down to under 2,000. I was saving 1,000 calories a day. Over 4 days, I had 4,000 calories left for that pizza. I had the pizza guilt-free. It was not as good as I remember. I'm not going to lie. I probably will order it again, though.
Felt like a disgrace after it. Like a slob.
To be honest, I needed another MSG hit. They've obviously taken loads out. But afterwards, no, I felt all right. Like, I'm okay. If I binge eat, which is what that was, yes, it was planned, but I just really wanted the pizza. I'm all right emotionally about it. I don't really get that guilty. I think the one time I've ever felt guilt over eating too much food, I had to Google how much is too much cheese. And then I found a study about how in France they eat more cheese per capita in the world, but they have the best heart disease. So then it absolutely was fine.
Good.
But the next day I was bloated. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's what I mean. Just feel sluggish.
Yeah, I looked considerably fatter than I usually do. I looked bigger. That was good. But I was so dehydrated. It's taken me about a week to feel normal again. Honestly, like a hangover.
That's so out of order.
Well, for those in the audience, I have had COVID as well. So I don't.
Yeah.
I'm comparing Domino's to COVID now. Oh my god. Anyway, I don't know if my sluggishness and my lethargy is because I'm still struggling with COVID, or
I think you're milking it a bit now. To be fair,
big pizza. Who knows, Natasha?
No, I'm kidding. I'm just trying to wind you up.
No, it is.
It's so true though, and that's something that I've had to say quite a lot to people recently, is the weight goes up, like you were talking about, after a heavy weekend on the drink or going out for a restaurant. It's all about the carbs, and like you say, with every 1 gram of carb you eat, you get like 3 to 4 grams of water along with it. So the weight that goes up, it's not fat. And one of my favourite statistics to use with people to make them feel a wee bit better about this kind of stuff, if they step on the scale or whatever and they feel like maybe they've stalled in progress, even though you explain all these things about like the weekly calories and stuff, is that for a pound of fat it's around about 3,500 calories over your weekly like maintenance number. So you'll never be that much over if you are looking at it right and if it's planned. Even though it looks pretty scary when you see, like on a Friday or a Saturday night, you get your weekly bar chart at the end. It's still good. You can look under the wee MyFitnessPal bit. It tells you this was your average, this was how many over of your weekly goal, and it's very, very rare that I see anywhere near that number, and I feel like that comforts people a little bit as well. Yeah,
because we've got people training really hard as well. If they are eating in a surplus, some of that will probably be muscle, maybe 20%, depending on their genetics and protein and stuff like that. But I think that, yes, we mitigate it in the short term, but also be very kind to yourself afterwards. You planned it, you executed the plan, you've done the best you can. And if you'd have just been left to your own devices, you'd have eaten whatever you wanted in the week. And you might have stuck to your 2,000, but then added another 3,500 on top of it.
Absolutely.
So that is a strategy you can use. So you mitigate it. I always give myself a huge buffer. Yeah. So that if I tear the arse out of it, or I'm hungover and then something. So if I'm going on a night out, it just makes it. If I don't use the calories, cool, I get more results. But the calories are there to use them if I need to. Now, you can actually extrapolate this over a month. Yeah. So if you've got 14,000 calories for a week, 14 times 4, what's that, Natasha? I think it's 56,000. Feel free to email me if I'm wrong.
So glad there would have been a very long pause there if you hadn't jumped in.
Let's say you've got... within the space of a Friday, Saturday, and then the following Friday and Saturday, you've got 4 social events. Extrapolate this over a month. Yeah. So you're 14,000 calories a week, so 56,000 calories per month. Budget like 5,000 calories a day for those days. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? And then split your 36,000 over the others.
Yeah, and that's all stuff that we can do for you. Yeah. But it's very useful to know. And another thing, obviously, we touched on like restaurants and stuff earlier. I think what a lot of people struggle with as well is, I can't do the handy wee scan of the barcode and I don't know how much to track. I would just say that guesstimating is better than not tracking anything at all. And always overestimate how many calories you've used. Don't just put like a 100-gram portion of pasta or whatever. Like
Shout out to Jackie.
Sometimes it's hard to even get like the actual restaurant stuff up. Like it's good for like your Nando's and whatever, but if you're going somewhere else, it won't even have that actual specific restaurant's meal on MyFitnessPal. So overestimate as much as you can. And something that I always say is just the more honest you are, the more like we can help. Just try and track everything that you can, drinks wise, like if you're going out for like cocktails and whatever, meals, stuff like that, instead of just leaving it blank, because that will help with, like I say, that big weekly plan that you're doing. So
yeah, I think if I go on a night out, I sometimes don't remember what I've drunk and in what quantity. Yeah, if it's one of those nights, feel free to judge me, audience, but you're the same if you're a normal person. Anyway, what I sometimes do before a night out, because the last thing you want to do is tracking on a night out, really.
Yeah.
Stick it in before. Yeah. So I might stick in a pizza and a half from, call it Pizza Hut because it's on the menu, but it might be just this little run Italian.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I know that chances are that Pizza Hut pizza's got more calories in. There's a little bit of a buffer I've estimated.
A little bit of leeway. Yep, definitely.
I'll stick 10 pints in. I'm not going to drink 10 pints. I usually drink 2 pints and then I switch to like vodka Diet Coke or something.
I thought you were going to say just 2 pints. 2 pints.
No.
Then stop. Can't hack it.
No. All right. Can't wait till Christmas night out.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. Anyway, so doing it ahead of time and then overestimating your buffer, then you can take it away if you've not had it.
Yeah.
But what it does is you don't have to track on a night out. It gives you that buffer. It will be shocking to see what 10 pints and 1.5 pizzas is on your MyFitnessPal.
Yeah.
But at least you've sort of accounted for it, overestimate it, and then anything's a bonus.
Yeah.
We've got complete information. And there's actually a joy in going, I actually didn't eat that much. That was amazing. But hopefully that helps if you do have like a social event or maybe a little bit of anxiety about that. Let's talk about daily strategies, okay? And I'm going to mention what I do and what I have mentioned to another member who asked me about this. So this works for me, and I found it, and it's not the best thing for everyone. I think if you did this, you'd be a terrible person. You'd just be so hungry and so whatever. So
I'm interested to see what you... Is it the not eating in the mornings?
It's basically intermittent fasting, but
Yeah.
I don't put that name on it because I'm not bothered about the hours. So in the mornings, I get up, I'll have a couple of coffees. They've got milk in, so I'm not in the fasted state or whatever, but I do that. I've always felt that when I have food, I start to get lethargic. Even if it's fruit, even if it's, do you know what I mean, Skyer yogurt, whatever it is, I just get a bit like, yeah. So I have a couple of coffees. I'll train after that. So I've probably had about, say, 300 calorie latte. I'll train after that, and then I'll have a protein shake. Now, my protein shakes have like 3 scoops of whey in and milk. And what I'm trying to do there, and it is very suboptimal, is get as much protein in as possible in one meal. Yeah. Then I might have sort of like a fruit snack to keep my blood sugar all right, because if I'm dealing with people, I need to be a nice person, and I can get hungry, and people laugh about it after the fact, but it's not very funny at the time, especially when I'm making you exercise. But then that saves me. I've probably had, if I'm on 3,000 calories a day, I have probably had 800 calories up until 9 p.m. at night. Yeah. And then I'll have a big meal. And the advantage for me for that is that I won't have a 2,200 calorie meal because I get full too quickly. So I might have 1,000 calorie meal, but then that leaves me a lot of calories for later in the weekend when I do like to eat a little bit more. I've got a little bit more time. But what it means is I'm hungrier during the day. You are a big breakfast fan. Yes. So it potentially wouldn't work for you.
Yeah, there's no potentially about it. I'm not coming here at 6 a.m. without my 4 protein Weet-Bix. Unfortunately, it just wouldn't happen. I'm the opposite. Same protein wise, I would just rather get it in as early in the day as I can, because there's nothing worse than getting to after dinner and you've still got like 40-50 grams.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason why we do protein, and for anybody listening who joins, they always say, oh, what's protein? Is that not for bodybuilders? Actually, someone asked me that last night.
Yeah.
But the reason why we do protein is because it maintains your muscle mass, it helps you recover from the exercise, and it allows your body to prioritize fat loss rather than anything else. Yeah. So if you're weight training, you're tearing the muscles apart, you want them to grow back. Your body's like, oh my God, we're in a calorie deficit, we need to lose something. Protein helps prioritize fat loss. It's a very, very simple explanation. There's a lot of nuances to it, but that's why we have protein. So Natasha and I prioritize our protein for that reason. And that's for people who haven't listened to the diet episodes or any of the other ones.
Yep.
Cool. So you have your Weetabix, bang, you hit your protein goal. What's the rest?
So hit that as early in the day as I can. Like you say, it's suboptimal. Sometimes you will put up a photo on Insta and 50 grams of protein, and people are like, you're only going to absorb 30 grams of that. But it's not the case.
No.
All we care about is our total protein goal, not splitting it up through different meals and whatever. So do that as early as possible. I have my Weetabix in the morning, usually like 11 o'clock on my break here, either a shake or a protein bar, so that's another like 20 grams, another like 200-300 calories or so. Have my lunch, which usually consists of a bagel and a meat source, and then my dinners are usually like 1,500 calories, so that totals me up to like 2,300, 400 for the day. And I eat pretty much the same thing every day, unless I'm going out at the weekend.
Yeah, so it's just a habit, innit? I mean,
yeah.
There was a study done last year, and apparently as human beings, we only eat about 12 different foods. Yeah. Average.
Yeah.
But you've got to take into account that we probably look for different foods. I get Gusto every week, so I eat loads of different foods.
Yep.
Shout out to Gusto. Woo, got a discount code, by the way. Yeah, exactly that. It's about finding what you can do on autopilot, pretty much. I'm on autopilot, works for me. You're on autopilot, and it's about what is your autopilot? How do we get you to a place where you're slowly churning and making progress? And then let's say you want to go on holiday and look mint, or I want to enter a bodybuilding show, which I never absolutely will. But if you have then a goal where you want to put the foot on the gas, we've got so much we can do for you with all these strategies. But finding that baseline, I suppose, is the important thing. And that's where working with the coach, working with Natasha and I, hopefully we do it in the right way. And I would say that we're getting there, because it is a personal thing. It's an individual thing, and not one diet thing doesn't work for everybody. And
it's a lot of trial and error.
Yeah.
Starting out. Absolutely.
I've always found that the summer, it's easier to coach people than the winter with diet, because with winter there's so many social events.
Yeah.
Being cold, it being dark, and we have to take that into account as coaches. But I've seen coaches blame their clients, like, you're a piece of shit if you don't do this diet. No, they're not. Things have changed. We have to adapt to that. So that's it. We're going to leave it there for now, but there's so much more. We're both probably bursting to say things,
I know.
But we've got a session to coach. We've got lives to change, Natasha.
We do, I know.
We've got lives to change. But we will be back with more regular podcast episodes very soon. If you want us to talk about anything, give us an email. We have emails lined up. I've got episodes ready to release with those emails. So if you have emailed us, you will get your question answered.
Exciting stuff.
But have an awesome day. And if you need anything, Steve at stevemarsdenfitness.com. Natasha, bid farewell to the people.
Goodbye, people.
Goodbye. See you in a bit. Thank you so much for listening to the Normal People Fitness podcast. If you need any help, then give me a shout at www.stevemarsdenfitness.com. Have an amazing day, and hopefully I'll see you soon.